Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Silver and Blood video. So on a high demand, you guys have been asking for a beginner's guide. So let me go ahead and break that down for you and talk about everything you should be doing as a beginner early game player. And this will help you set up the proper account without making too many mistakes. So we're going to go over all of the features, all of the things you should focus on, and the units, team compositions, resource management, etc. We're going to do it all, guys. So this is going to be a video that you probably want to watch to make sure you kind of get the right foot forward and get your account going fast. Now, the first thing you want to do is when you jump into the game, get through the tutorial. Now, there is a re-roll section that you can do. I don't recommend it personally because they give you a ton, and I mean a ton of summons in the beginning. But if you want to re-roll, there's a complicated method to do so. I'm not going to go over the re-roll guide, but I will talk a little bit about what to do when you first start off in the game. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you jump in here, guys, is you're going to have some events that are happening. Okay, the new moon event is something that you definitely want to jump on right away. This is going to be going for specific missions to unlock a free SSR character and one of the better tanks in the game, Bella Slade, who is a puppeteer and a fantastic tank. So you definitely want to get this done. So day one, you're going to have some challenges. So what you want to do, guys, essentially is focus on getting these challenges out of the way and go all the way to day 7, day 8, day 9, day 10. And every single time you complete a challenge, you'll get yourself some of these shards as well, to the rare shards, and the opportunity to get yourself some Soothing Embrace, which is going to be your summon. So I'll talk more about those very soon, but this is something you absolutely want to focus on and make sure you get that in as soon as you possibly can. All right, now next thing you're going to see is going to be something called the First Supper. The First Supper is actually fantastic because it gives you up to 160 summons, and again, the free Bella that you just saw earlier. Now the Inception ritual here is just a login reward, very simple. Crescent Moon Memorial, for 7 days you'll get yourself free rewards all the way up to this. You're also going to get yourself these coveted Afternoon of Leisures. We'll talk more about that affinity as well too. And then there's other events going on as well, such as the Half Moon Memorial, which will give you more summons. And then of course, if you want to join the official communities, there are codes that are available for you to get yourself some amazing prizes along the way. So this is something you absolutely want to focus on as well. And there's something called Cycle of Faith, where when you clear chapters, you can get up to 80 free summons. So make sure, guys, you complete that and get that out of the way as well. Okay, so those are going to be your main focuses when you start. Now, when you jump into the game, what units do you want to go for? A couple things you guys need to know. Do not use your resources to level up more than 5 characters. Okay, now you can reset characters. All right, I'll show you guys real quick where the reset button is. When you level up a character high enough, you have a reset button right underneath their EXP bar. You are allowed to click on that, but it will cost you some of these blood drops, right, or the moon tears. So make sure you guys do not use this if you don't have to. It's just a waste of moon tears, but it's not too costly, and you will get back everything you spent. But just be mindful, you only want to level up 5 characters, and the reason for that is you want to get yourself into the transfusion. This will unlock eventually in the game, which allows you to use your top 5 leveled characters, then allows you to put any character in these little boxes underneath here to then be able to give them the exact same level. Now the beauty of this, there's a trick to it, is you can get the same level for characters who don't even have the proper advancements, right? For example, CC over here has no advancements, but yet she's level 101. If you have no advancement on a character, the max level you can get on a character is level 80. So it is important, guys, to make sure that the characters you plan to put in the transfusion also get that bonus, right? You guys can see, look, 101 out of 80, right? This is a big deal for Augustine. So if I plan to use him, he's going to be in transfusion. That way I don't have to focus on getting dupes for him. I just have to get him in that section. So the trick here is your SRs play a big role, especially early on in the game where you're trying to get the max amount of levels. Sometimes you want to put the resources in your SRs to get them leveled up because they're easier to get through summons. And then once you get them to 160, and that's the max they can go, you put the characters in transfusion, and then eventually when you get your 3-star SSRs, right? So for example, let's say a 3-star SSR here, which can go up to level 200, then you replace them. Okay, now the one thing to remember about transfusion, because this is again an important feature to have, is that every time you remove a character from transfusion, you have a 4-hour lock time period to unlock that slot. So if you want to put someone back in there, you'll have to wait 4 hours, or you have to pay a lot of moon tier. So again, be very mindful of who you put in here. Don't just drop everybody in there, but eventually you will have enough space to drop majority of the characters in. Just remember, these are the 5 characters that are leveled up using resources, and they take the lowest level character and apply that to all of your others that are in here. So again, anyone with the most advancements, doesn't matter if you don't use that character or not, put them in here with your resources. They'll automatically be put in based on their levels. Everyone else goes under transfusion. Very, very important. Now let's talk a little bit about the summon banners. Okay, this is going to be a big one. So the embrace. So currently, Lost Heirs of Hecate, Lamia is out. She is the best DPS in the game, in my opinion, right now. And everybody should be going for her. So your moon tier should be saved up to summon for her here under the Herald times 10. You guys can see it does take some moon tiers to get that. So everything you're getting from a moon tier perspective, do not use it on the common Blue Dawn. Now, when you're a new player, you're going to have two other summon sections here. Get those two summons out of the way. The first one is going to guarantee you an SSR and 10 summons. The next one is going to give you 2 other SSRs. So make sure you do those first 2 banners before anything else. Get those out of the way. Okay, so what characters do you want to go with besides Lamia? So the biggest characters you want to go for, ideally in the beginning, are going to be Van Helsing, which is going to be your main DPS for quite some time, and then outside of Lamia, and then you also want to go for Acapella. Acapella is huge. All right, those 2 are your biggest character draws you want to go for. Now, let's say you get something that you don't want. It's not the end of the world. You can continue playing and not re-rolling. I suggest continue playing, and you will get yourself some extra things. Now, one thing you will unlock after summoning a few extra times is the altar. The altar allows you to put in the characters you're looking for in the respectable faction. So there's Church, Bloodborne, Kingdom. Be mindful that this wish list will pop up more often if you summon for them in here. So make sure you put the characters you're actually looking for. One of the best ways to do this is you don't have to fill up the whole thing, by the way. You can just leave 1 or 2 characters in here, and that way it'll focus on those characters only, and that way you don't have to worry about pulling characters you're not looking for. For me personally, I'm just looking for dupes, so I'm putting everybody in that I need. But outside of that, if you're looking for someone specific like Van Helsing, just put Van Helsing in the Church section and move on. Okay, very important to do that, or Acapella, right? So that's a big one. Also right here, when you've done enough summons, you're going to get an extra bonus here, which is going to give you free characters to go for. A lot of people are gonna summon for a free Transcendent. Transcendent units are very hard to get. My best Transcendent unit suggestion would be Seth for healing if you don't have Acapella. If you have Acapella, Seth is still a great option. Or the second option is going to be Transcendent Hattie, if you're going to go for her as well too. And both characters look like this. Here's Seth, for example, right there. That's what she looks like. All right, she's probably the best healer in the game. And then we have Transcendent Hattie right over here. Where is she? Right here. Okay, so this would be the other character I would suggest going for. So these 2 are going to be probably the best. Now, a lot of you may want to consider going for Lyman. The only problem with Lyman, as I mentioned in the tier list section, is the fact that she's very powerful, but her ultimate takes 6 costs, which is quite expensive. But she does do a lot of damage increase for your characters. I chose her. I regret choosing her, to be honest. I kind of wish I can go back on that. So those are the characters I suggest on that. Now, when you are done those banners, the next thing you're going to focus on is just getting these scrolls here, your Soothing Embrace, and you want to focus only on the general banner for there. Now, you can pull Transcendent units as well, just so you guys are aware, they are available. Now, what are Transcendent units? A lot of people have been asking. So Transcendent units are essentially buffed versions of the original. So for example, Noah, the main character, has a Transcendent version as well too. So these are just harder characters to get. They're called Ancestors. They belong to that faction, and that's how you'll tell who they are. Okay, so you guys can see here's another one considered an ancestor. So anyone who's considered quote unquote an ancestor is going to have the Transcendent title usually beside them. Okay, so that's how you're going to really recognize who belongs where. And with Lyman might be the only real, like Lyman and a few others I think might be the only real difference between them, but that's how you tell. Everyone else has a different faction, like for example Bloodborne, etc. Right? So that's the main thing. Now, a couple things you want to do. You will be able to pull Transcendent units here, but if you pull for the Lost Heirs of Hecate Lamia banner using your moon tiers, there's a higher end chance to get Transcendence in this section if you don't get Lamia. So that's a really good option to pull for those banners. This banner called the Celestial Concerto is actually going to be a free banner you get using your using your friends. So every time you add friends and you gift friends and they gift you, you can pull free units. And these units right here will allow you to do this. Now, whenever you pull dupes, when you've maxed out a unit, you're going to get these little shards right here, right? So these shards are going to be able to be used in the shop. There's a shop redemption button right here, and these right here can be used to trade for other things within the game. So we'll talk more about this very shortly in the shops, but I want to make sure you guys understand what that is and why you have them there. So again, when you summon, the main thing to note is when this hammer goes down, if you see a yellow, that means you're only getting SRs. When you see a red like this, Bam, that's fantastic. You're going to get SSRs. Again, can be either an SSR Transcendent or it can be a regular, and can be multiple SSRs as well too, right? And you'll see the animation here goes through. We'll skip the animation, and you'll see when this happens, it says Exquisite Vassal, and that means an SSR has been pulled. There's an acapella. See, she's on my list, so I got a wish granted because she's on that list. So there you guys go, one SSR, and that right there means we got ourselves a dupe copy of her, so we have another acapella. Now, let's go back to the units. Let's talk a little bit about units and what they're all about and how to level them up, what you should focus on, etc. Okay? Now, I'm going to break this down as much as I possibly can. So first off, units, right here. Let's start to the side. This is going to be their faction. Okay, you can level up factions as well too to give them more power based off of this little material here. We'll talk more about those later. So this is the faction right here. This is going to be the type of armor they wear. This is very important. Medium equipment, light equipment, heavy equipment. All of this matters. And why does it matter? Well, because when you get drops, not anybody can wear them. They're all going to be based on what they can equip and what that drop is. And we'll talk more about equipment afterwards. They're also the class that they are. This is an enchanter. You can see here, each possess distinctive abilities offering benefits to their teams. And then right here, this is going to be a big one, a moon phase. This is a crescent moon character. Okay, we'll talk more about that as well. And then, of course, what kind of damage they do. In her case, she is a magic damage dealer. So very important. Now, right underneath that, you're going to see the level option. You can see she's transfusing. So we're not going to actually put her, she's not going to have an option to level up. But if she did, it would look more like this right here. There'll be a little plus button right there. Okay, so we'll talk again more about leveling in a second once I go back. Let's go back to acapella. There she is. Now, once we've seen that, you've seen the levels. Right here is their advancement. The first 3 advancements are going to have 3 little dots when they're in SSR. So you want to fill all 3 dots. That allows that character to go to level 200. That's currently the max level until you ascend further. Okay. Now, further ascension, essentially, you don't have to go further, by the way. But if you decide to go further, all it is stat padding. You're not getting any bonuses to your ultimates. You're not getting any bonuses to skills. Further ascension is more whale type activity. And if you're just, unlucky, but you will essentially stat your pad or your pad your stats, right? So you'll see right here, this will push her now further, and her pads, her actual stats go up. So all I'm doing is I'm padding it. Okay, so you see right there, I'm moving my screen up. You guys can see right there, now I've got more stats, but again, it hasn't altered anything else. No level increase, nothing else, right? So it's just for more stats, very much a whale thing. All right, so that's what that's about. You guys can now see all of their total stats here as well. The HP, physical defense, attack speed, crit rate, etc. Right? All of this is going to be listed here, and a lot of this is based off of gear and other things as well in the game. Now, right over here, you can reset as well the character if you'd like, some of their skills if you want to. It's going to cost you one of these time materials. I just be very careful how much skills you level up. Don't level up everyone's skills. It's not worth it. Focus on your main team. So for example, when you go here, a couple things to note when you want to level up your skills. Okay, so right over here, we'll go to this little bar. Skills are the follows. There's a passive always. Passives cannot be leveled. All right, passives will work automatically in the game and will be either triggered by certain mechanics or will just happen right away. Pretty straightforward stuff, right? Now, the 2 skills, there's a basic attack skill. You guys can see right here, it's called that. Usually does some sort of damage, in this case, magic damage. And then there is a special. In this case, it'll be something they automatically cast through the battle. All right, and then there's their ultimate, of course, right? And then the ultimate can be all leveled up. Now, these all require different types of resources to level. So in this case, you need Insight of the Neophyte, and then this one here, you need the Knowledge of Man, okay? And then right over here is going to require Knowledge of Man. Now, as you go further and further in leveling, specifically when you get to level 4, you're going to need other material to go further than that. So you can see level 4 now requires you get the Sorcerer's Crystal Ball based on their class, and then another Knowledge of Man, and then now you add another material called Knowledge of Sages. All right, now the further you get, then you're going to even get further and further into the material, and you need a lot more of it. So leveling skills is super, super important for characters, guys, and it's going to be very critical that you level up the right units. Don't just dilly-dally and throw them into anything. It will cost you a lot of time and resources, and something as a free-to-play player, if you plan to be free-to-play, you won't be able to afford long-term. Okay, so that's the characters essentially right there. Now, gear. This is important. You can quick equip, of course. Okay, a couple things to note about gear. Number 1, again, we mentioned already the type of gear. So this is a medium gear, and then the helmets always have HP and attack. The rings always have attack and physical defense. The what is this? This is the amulets have HP and magic defense, and then the capes or the back has HP and attack as well too. Leveling up is actually very costly. If I enhance this, for example, you're going to use either smelting ores or you're going to use other gear. Now, gear has tiers. All right, different tiers will offer you different stats. So you guys can see this is a tier 7 gear, right? Which gives me like a lot more attack and HP. If I go back and I look for a unit that wears medium gear and I look at their gear for a second, let's just say she has tier 6. You guys can see it's a much lower stat number, and also the fact that it's a purple versus a gold, that also makes a difference. Now, the highest end version, I believe, of an armor that you can get is going to be this red one here. This is a tier 9, and you guys can see how much more power this gives, right? So keep that in mind. Now, gear also has something else that you guys need to note. When you guys fight the bosses to get this gear, sometimes they drop gear that also provides you guys a bonus to a specific class. You guys can see this is a church one. So whenever gear has this icon, you want to ideally give this to a church user, because all the attributes of this piece will go up by 30 more percent. So very, very important, guys, to keep that in mind when you're doing this. So that's why it's not always good to auto equip, because auto equip automatically just puts something on a character, not thinking about that extra bonus. So when you are getting gear, when you are ready to farm top end gear, you're going to need to focus on those two things. So make sure you do take a look at that as well too, okay? And then lastly, there's one more button over here called the artifact button. Now, artifacts you're going to get through a different game mode, which I'll talk about. You can equip one character with one artifact until you level that artifact further, and then unlocking more skills, and then giving you guys more bonuses. And again, we'll talk more about artifacts in a different video. I just want to talk about the basics, all right? So that's essentially it for characters. That's what the character screen does. Now, let's go into combat. I think it's going to be important. I want to explain how combat works and why this is important. So we're going to go to 12.5 right here. This is the stage I'm on. A couple of things to note in combat. Okay, first off, there's going to be the battlefield information. This is the recommended power for the fight. This is my power. Now, when you're underneath the power level, they usually mean the mobs are much tougher, so keep that in mind. Now, depending on the mobs you fight, you might want to bring different classes. So in this case, there's a tank, there's a 2 sorceresses, and a marksman. Now, usually with marksmen, they're going to not be touched for quite some time, so you want to either bring an assassin or somebody that can rush to that opponent, or another marksman yourself. Now, the drops for this stage is as follows. You get yourself Solly, which is your gold. You get yourself your Pure Blood Essence, which is your EXP for your characters. And then you get a drop for a ring. In this case, it's in the Toll Devourer's Tentacle. This is a tier 6 ring that you can equip, right? So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Combat, very, very important things to note. There's a lot of tips and tricks for combat. So first off, I just want to make sure you guys understand. In combat, there's a couple different missions. This mission specifically, I need to support Jason. I need to keep him alive. You guys can see there's 2 marksmen back there. There's 2 units about to fight him, and these are the tanks, and they're distracting me. So one thing you want to do right away is you want to target one of these opponents. Right now, one thing I can do, let's say I don't want to use the shade. Let's say I want to bring Hati in here instead. You can see here, she actually rushes over to this character and actually attacks him, allowing me to save this guy over here, which I need to do. But if I were to put Shade back in, you guys can see he goes after the tanks instead, right? Even though he does go behind the tanks, he's still focusing on the wrong unit. I need to keep this guy alive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Hattie in, going to let her rush in there. Now, before I do that, a couple other things to note. Okay, so you guys can see here, Lyman has a skill, right here, you guys can see, where she actually does an AoE that damages targets around her. So I'm going to put her right here, and I'm going to put Bella. Actually, I'm going to put her right here instead, and I'm going to put Bella over there, okay? Or I can send her back a slot right there and kind of give her that opportunity to take the damage, okay? So you guys, right there, you guys can see that. Okay, so up to you which way you want to go, but this AoE here is going to hit these units for me and keep her alive. Now, Bella over here actually summons 2 dolls to help me do damage. That's part of her skills. You guys can read that. Lamia is going to be back here. Your sorceresses usually want to be back here with your healer, and then your marksman wants to be further back. A couple more things to note. Right over here, this little button. Click on that. If you want to play auto mode, feel free to do so, okay? One thing though, always strategically put in your ultimates for the first 3 turns. It only does first 3 turns. But if I do want to play ultimate, I can at least do this and make it make sense for me, okay? Now, a couple things to note. You guys can see I have a full moon, a crescent moon, and a small moon. The reason why you want to activate this is your blood moon allows you to do more damage when all 3 are activated, and the blood soul costs for each ultimates are reduced by 1. So I'm going to show you guys how that works, and this is a major thing that you need to do, guys, for this. Now, if you click this button, it will automatically put in the #1 team that you have in terms of power. We're going to switch back out again and just focus on this. All right, so let's go into combat and talk a little bit about this. Now, if you want to filter out things, you can when you're building your team. You can build by faction, by class, by equipment type, or moon phases. Moon phases is probably the most important one, but you always want to have 3 moon phases in place if possible. Okay, so let's jump in here and show you guys some combat. Okay, I'm going to slow this down and take all this off. Now, you guys can see right over here, she's attacking That's keeping him alive. Now Lamia over here is going to be my main DPS, right? You guys can see I'm going to cast a full moon spell right here. Okay, and then once that's done, that activates that right there. You guys can see the button. Now I'm going to do the next one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a heal, right? And that'll now activate the bottom one, right there. Now I need to do one more skill that is a crescent moon, and that will then activate the last one, reducing the cooldown of all my ultimates, and at the same time, right here, you guys can see, buffing my characters by 25% more damage. You guys can see right here. Watch this. You're going to see what's going to happen. There it is, 3. See how I went down to 3, my ultimate there? So now I'm going to go do this. And this is a very short timer. So you need to take advantage of this as soon as you can, okay? There, see how I went back up to 4 right there? So very important, guys, to note that. Now we're going to do this to heal up. And then you guys can see now it starts over, right? I need to do this whole thing again. So we're going to do this. Going to get in here and help Jason out a little bit. We want to keep him alive. He's the important one to keep alive here. Okay, and now we need to do a full moon, right? As you guys can see, they damaged me there to cost more MP. We're going to go ahead and cast Lamia's. This should hopefully take care of these guys. Now, these guys are really, really tough opponents. I might actually end up finishing this battle, but we're going to do our best. Okay, we're going to cast this first. Get everybody healed up, including Jason again. We got to keep him alive. That's the goal. And then from here, we're going to focus on killing off the rest of the opponents who are left, okay? So this is how it works, guys. That's why it's so important to make sure your Blood Moon is constantly being activated, okay? We're going to go ahead and do this. Kill this guy off, and hopefully Lamia will hit the other guys. She does. Perfect. And that's the final blow right there. That's a tough battle. That's actually a really tough one. But that is an example of why you want to have a full Blood Moon in place. That's an example of what you want to do during the fights to make sure it's always activated and take advantage of the Blood Moon when it's ready to go with the ultimates. Now, a couple of things to note here after battle. There's a Moonlight Faith here. Okay, every time you collect these right here, the memory echoes, this actually increases the Lord's level. Every time you increase the Moonlight Faith, that's going to give you more idol resources as well. Okay, so this is a critical part of the game, and I'm going to go talk about that right now so you guys understand what that's all about. Now, before I leave that to talk about this, during the map you're going to be able to collect these fragments. Make sure you collect them. When you do collect them, you get rewards for it, and then there's like a little bit of a faith that ties up here. You can collect these books and then get more of these moon tiers along the way. And also there's a hard mode. When you complete chapter, I believe 10, you'll be able to unlock hard mode, which is actually really tough, and you'll be able to do more of this content here. You guys can see there is going to be a lot more enemies, more combat power here, and more ways to get essence stones. Not essence stones. Damn, SLA. Moon tiers, okay? Sorry about that, guys. So that's very important. Now, we talked about the idol. Let's go to the idol for a second. This right here, the ritual time, is going to be the amount of percentage you get of idol rewards. You guys can see you get essence, you get yourself Sully, you get yourself this Lord's level, the Memory's Echo, and you get yourself this right here, Divine Blood Drops. Now, these Divine Blood Drops are to advance your characters past a certain point of level, right? So level 80, 100, 120, etc., right? So you need to get these. These are important. Now, you're going to be collecting a lot of this throughout the whole game. As you increase your total power over here, right? Your Moonlight Tribute, you're going to be getting more of this per hour. Okay, the main thing to remember is you also have this thing called extra sermon. You want to, as free to play, at least do 1 or 2 or 3 of these if you can using your moon tiers, because you want to collect these very coveted resources to get your characters leveled up even further. So extra sermon is an important part of it. I would do it at least 3 times as free to play, not more than that. If you can afford it, then do it, but if not, don't go further, right? You also get yourself gear and other things as well too, such as awakening fragments. So this is very important, guys, but your Moonlight Faith is very, very critical to this. Now, there's another piece to this as well too, okay? When you start collecting yourself these treasure chests, which give you guys like other things like essence and stuff, don't use them early game. All right, the higher your Moonlight Faith, because this is all based off of your idol. So this 1 hour here is based off of your idol. So if you're using these early game, you're gonna actually get yourself almost no resources. So you want to save all of this stuff. So I'm gonna use all this max right here. You want to save all of this until your resources are pretty high up there, then you can use it. So let's say I was level 1 for Moonlight. This would give me like, I don't know, 1,000. Right? But I'm 47, so this is giving me a lot more. You guys can see I can get that much gold out of this. So if I did this right there, there's 3 million. But if my Moonlight Tribute was way lower, I'd almost get nothing for that. So the more you level up your Moonlight before you use these, the more resources you will get along the way. This does not apply though for this untapped insight skills. This only applies for Essence, Sully, and the drops to level up your characters, these things right here, right? So they're called divine blood drops. So make sure, guys, you save these until you've leveled up further, and then feel free to use them after the fact. But early on, don't use them. It's gonna kill you, I promise. All right, now let's talk about shards. Throughout the game, you're going to be able to get rare shards. You're going to be able to get yourself some of these shards here called perfect shards. And there's one other type of shard. Perfect shard guarantees you an SSR. Can actually even provide you some of the better SSRs in the game. Does not include limited banners. Okay, does not include limited banners. So keep that in mind. Does not include transcendent characters. Rare ones, on the other hand, has an opportunity to get you an SSR, but can also give you an SR. So for example, this one gave me an SR, right? There's a Yoni. So that is what you want to collect. As you go through the towers, we'll talk about the game modes very shortly, you're also going to be able to get these other shards as well too, which actually eventually can give you ancestral characters as well. So let's go through that. Lost Courtyard. You're going to unlock this fairly early on. You're going to be able to do a couple different things. There's Tomb of the Fallen, which is going to be where you're going to fight bosses to get gear. There's going to be the Zagon boss, the Soulless boss, Clive, and then a Toll Devourer Rana. So all of these will be unlocked based on your actual progression in the story mode. So story mode is very important to go through. And then also you only have 3 challenges, and each of them will drop specific gear. So for example, this boss here has an opportunity to drop a couple different things. So I'll show you guys real quick what the difference is. So 90% chance to drop these gear right here, right over here. You guys can see them all. They're all greens. And then another chance right there to drop more greens. This is a 100% chance, and also 100% chance to drop the smelting ore. So this is a early level boss. Now, if you don't kill the boss, they still drop gear, so don't worry about it. Armored Spirit. This one is now when you finish chapter 10, this boss pops up, right? It looks like Baphomet. Now this has a 30% chance to drop some epic gear, right? You guys can see here, it's purple gear, higher end, plus the faction is tied to it. And over here, non-factional gear guaranteed to drop with some factional gear as well. So this is more blue stuff with some purples. The other one is all purples. And then of course you get the higher end blackened smelting ore, which allows you to get more EXP for your character. So the further you go, the more gear can drop. Like you can see over here, these are epics, and then eventually you can get some reds in the rest of Spirit 2 when you finish 15-8, which is going to be really tough. Okay, so that's where you get gear. TIMEWORN, Mausoleum, my god, sorry guys, is where you get skill stuff. Okay, so this is where you get all your insights to get your skill leveled up. Now, this works a little bit differently. There's different tower floors, and each floor over here will give you guys a lot of rewards. But the way this works is every character is set to a specific level. So you don't have to worry about leveling your characters. They automatically do that. So there's 10, 20, 20, 40, 60. And then as I go down, you'll see here it's going to be 80 or 70, 80, and then this one is 90, right? And then what essentially happens is there's waves of mobs, right? There's gonna be 10 waves of mobs, and you have to clear all those mobs before they get through the portal, and before they essentially beat you. In this case, they recommend using AoE damage units, so that's who you want to use. So when you start this battle, you're gonna see right over here, most of the time tanks are fairly useless. You don't really care about tanks. What you want to do is you want to bring as many as possible in regards to damage dealers that you can. And right over here you can see allied warriors, assassins, and defenders can block more enemies. Sorcerers, enchanters, and marksmen gain 100% range, so keep that in mind when you're building that. So you can put a couple tanks to block enemies in case you don't want them going through. So I'm going to go ahead and take a healer out, for example, right? And I'll put in Bella here. Put in Bella in the front just so she can block some enemies. We're going to go ahead and take out let's take Acapella out. We'll take Sheila out. We'll keep Van Helsing in line. You guys can see he does the full damage. We'll put we'll put Lamia right here. We'll put in a couple other tanks here as well too, just to kind of show you guys how this works, okay? And some assassins. So let's put Hati in here as a warrior, and then we'll put in here. We'll put him in there, okay? So here's how this combat works. You'll see right away, right? The marksman will be able to attack. The other ones will not. So these guys, see how Van Helsing's attacking right there? So he's taking care of business. He's the only one that can really do anything at the moment. Everyone else here has to wait. So Van Helsing is going to take most of the damage in the beginning. As they get closer though, your other units will start attacking. Now, while you're playing this, you're going to be able to unlock treasures. This is a very cool part of the game. Different treasures will give you different things. Okay, so for example, in this case, the sealed butterfly blades. If I get to choose 2, ultimate damage 30%. Affected vessels are going to be Hati specifically. So we're going to give her this, and we're going to also expand this even further so I can do more things. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Now, as you are doing this, right, as you do this, you're going to notice a couple different things. you're going to see that all melee vessels create blood pools nearby, dealing damage to enemies. We'll put that on. And now if I want to do more magic damage, I can put this here, and this will affect all magic damage users. So I'll put that in there for now. If this links to a weapon, if you can link 2 items to a weapon that are specific to that weapon evolves to another weapon that's more powerful than the original, okay? We're going to go ahead and summon these guys. And this is how this game mode works, right? I'm going to go ×2 here just to speed things up. And you guys can see he's getting closer, so I'm going to go ahead and cast Lamia's skill. And now I can actually hit that unit, right? And you guys can see the difference in damage that it makes. So you guys can see here, all damage bonus 40%. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this... let's see, where can I put this? Maybe here? You can move things around after the fact, by the way, guys, if you need to. Let's move this. See, I don't have enough spots, so let's go here. If I put this here, we do perfect. So now Lamia will do more damage. So now we can at least count on her to do that. So you guys can see right here, all the waves are coming, right? And you guys will notice as the waves progress, the bosses will start appearing as well, which makes it a lot tougher to finish. All right, so we're going to put that in. There's Van Helsing. And you guys can see elites are now starting to pop up. Now, you cannot allow 10 of these guys to get through. That's the goal here, is to stop 10 of them from going through. Eventually, you're going to see a massive boss pop up. It's going to be a dragon, right? And that's who we need to really avoid. Or at least kill off. Okay, so here we go. We're doing some more damage here. You can see Van Helsing needs to... pretty much you want to make sure Van Helsing stays up more than anybody else. Now, this team isn't ideal. You want to have more AoE users. I just want to show you the setup here and how it works. But now look, you can see people are now starting to advance closer and closer. I'm going to go ahead and put this in place. Actually, put this down here. So this is magic bonus, all and critical hit damage bonus. So we're going to put that in place. And now we can start focusing on doing a little bit more damage to other units that are close by. Let's see if I can even connect. I can. Perfect. Okay. Hattie is over here, is going to do an attack as well. And she causes pestilence. So the beauty of her is we're going to be able to do pretty fast damage and let that pestilence kind of spread a little bit. Okay, now you guys can see the warning that I just got, right? There's a warning there. So enemies have a chance to, upon death, to explode. We're going to definitely put that in here. We're going to need one... Actually, you know what? We need probably... I can't even do this anymore. So let me move some things around. Let's move this down and put this right here. And then we'll put... This healing one's irrelevant, but you guys can see the needle actually is affected by that. You guys saw that right there? How it had a little connection. So if you connected those, it would actually make a difference. All right, here we go. You guys will see shortly the dragon should be popping up soon as well too. Okay, we have 4 here. Put this there. All damage bonus. Perfect. Oh, we can't put that in because not enough space. Lifesteal. Do we care about lifesteal? Sure. I guess we do care about lifesteal a little bit. Let's move this here. Put this here. That, well, now you see the connection there? That was the connection I was referring to. Okay, so here's Pestilence. We're going to go ahead and do it again. And there's a big boy right there. He's coming in hot, right? So also remember to also use your proper here we go, we'll do this now. To set up your blood moon, okay? So you do 25% more damage. Now you guys can see if you have tanks and assassins and stuff, they'll hold these guys back a little further for you. If you didn't have tanks, assassins, or warriors, these guys would have all gone through by now. So keep that in mind. There is an importance to have those guys in place, alright? Alright, let's do this next. What is... Do we have space? I don't. Magic damage. Okay, we can do this one instead. Here we go. And attack speed. Okay, we'll do Hati again. Actually, maybe... Yeah, we'll do Hati again here. Alright, you guys are starting to see how this works though, right? You guys are understanding the concept here. And again, a lot more mobs are going to start popping up. And they're going to start hurting. So this is why sometimes it's important to actually bring a healer to this kind of fight. But I want to show you guys how this all works. Okay, here we go. We're going to use Lamia here. Try to kill off as many as we can. I don't know if she's going to actually kill that many because of these elites. But these elites are going through now. And they're starting to do a lot of damage to us. There you go. There's a connection there. We'll put this 3 here for now. Let's keep going. There's the big boy. You see him up there? Yeah, now these guys, last time I did this with my original team, they didn't even survive. I just had to deal with him. And he was actually kind of hard to kill. So, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to put Van Helsing in place in a second. Actually, we should do her just to get the blood moon up. There we go. Now we'll see if we can get Van Helsing up and running here. Get him to do some more damage. Look at that big boy. Oh my god. He's huge. That's what she said. Alright, damage. You want to do as much as you can here. Again, he's going to probably get through, by the way, or he'll kill us, most likely. He does a lot of damage. You guys, look at that. Look at the damage he does. So now we're gonna start taking some damage. This is where a healer comes in play and actually makes a big difference in the combat setup, right? So keep that in mind when you're doing this. It's important to bring a healer as well. But in our case, because we have some extra bonuses here to due to lifesteal and stuff, it makes it a little bit easier to survive this fight. Normally, this would be a much bigger problem for us. Okay, so you guys can see here, we would love to do this part if we could, but I don't think I have the space for it, right? So Van Helsing, unfortunately, is going to have to miss out on that skill. So there you guys go. Look at this. We're actually doing some fairly decent damage now. Magic bonus, yeah, we're going to definitely try to connect that up. Here, let me see if I can move this down, and we're going to connect this. And now this weapon here has been energized. Okay, you guys can see this now. Ashes of Death Servant now does more damage overall. And now it gave me a slot here for free that I can put other things in. So very important to recognize that, guys, when you are doing this as well, okay? That you can free up slots once you've put the proper things in place. Let's see, can we do anything else with this one? I don't think so, right? That one belongs with this, so we can connect that. And then over here, can I move this? I don't know, I can't. Okay, we're gonna go return to fight. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going here, guys. We might be able to actually finish this if the time allows. Is there time on this one? I don't know if there's time. Marksman here. Attack speed 15. Magic damage bonus. Again, nothing we need. This one gives me 2 slots, so we're going to put that in. Let's go with... This is tough. I'm trying to make spot for Van Helsing's when I get it. We'll put this up here for now. Put this over here. And let's see. Wooden, can I use this? Let's see if this is useful. 15 attack speed. You know what though? I'm probably going to put another one of these right now, just for now, and we're going to go with that. Alright, let's see if we can kill this guy off, guys. Here we go. Here's his big attack. Again, you're going to do massive amounts of damage. I need to do this just to get the Blood Moon up. And then again, we want to activate Van Helsing as soon as we can. Just for that extra bonus attack that he gets. There it is. You guys can see my dolls here are taking a lot of the damage as well too, right? And this is a tough one. I got 3 minutes and 45 seconds to finish this, by the way, so I still got quite a bit of time. Okay, there's Van Helsing's now. So let's see if I can kind of move this around a little bit here. Let's put this back here. Okay, that freed that up. We're gonna take one of these and maybe move them here. What I'll do is I'll maybe move this up here. Put that there, and Van Helsing's can go right there. There we go. Now we got Van Helsing's up and running. Okay, so this is important, guys. Let's go ahead and do this with Hati. There you guys go. More damage, more damage, more damage. Again, you want to activate this, all the skills, right, in order to get yourself your Blood Moon. So there's my second skill. Now I just need to do the dolls here. There it is. And then lastly, we can just probably finish this off with Mia at this point, to be honest. She'll probably kill him off here. No phantoms were actually harmed in the making of this video, by the way. There you guys go. So full top tier 30 done. Now that allows me to go to the next floor. You guys can see achievement wise, I'll get myself rewards here. Bam, 1500 there. If I go back here now, the achievements again will allow me to click on this, get myself some essences, plus some of these extra skill scrolls. And then if I go back right here to the gallery, this gallery will now show me new things that I've unlocked in terms of weapons, how I did them, what to use in terms of getting those weapons, etc. Right? So it's really cool. And then the talents here allows you to actually go further and unlock other things in the talent tree to allow you to have like more crit, more attributes. In this case, it's just all vessels get more power. So this is up to you what you want to do. I'm probably going to go with, let's go with crit. I think crit's a pretty important one. So we're going to go more crit there, and we'll add that in there. Now I can do the next floor when I'm ready. Okay, so after this one here. So there you guys go. That's essentially how that works. That was a long part of the video, so you guys can skip this if you want. Dutchman's Revenge. A very important part as well, too. This will actually unlock all of your artifacts. This is what I was talking about before. These are your artifacts. Artifacts will allow you to get additional items. Sorry, not additional items. Additional skills throughout that are passive. So, for example, this one here gives me 10% more crit based on who has these equipped. So in this case, I have the Shade and I have Lamia at the Gilrain, and then I have Bella here with this one. This one here, it restores max HP whenever a summon dies. She summons, so that's perfect. And then over here we have Van Helsing with the basic attack one, because he does do quite a bit of basic attacks as well, right? So these are going to be game modes that are a little bit more unique, all right? And they're puzzle game modes. So for example, the Cycles one here, right? You have two different units that do two different things. When you finish these, they also give you guys free summons, soothing embraces, plus some smelting ore and other things along the way. So this is a must do content, guys. You have to do this content. Artifacts are a big part. They also give you leveling material for your artifacts. For example, this one here gives me leveling material for this watch. This one here gave me the one for the alchemy urn, or whatever the hell it's called. So Dutchman's Revenge, focus on it. Get it done. All right. Now, Blood Arena. This is your PvP. Yes, there is PvP in this game, and yes, it is kind of evened out and kind of not. So the basic rank PvP puts everybody at level 200. Everybody gets level 200. Where the difference stems is going to be mostly your ascension. Okay, so fair play. You guys can see all teams are level 200. So there's no actual like what do I say? There's no actual like ascension bonuses here. Okay, so it's all going to be based off of your, well, there is ascension bonuses. That's really the only difference, and I guess somewhat gear. So gear and ascension bonuses are a big difference, but at least level wise they even out the playing field. So you do get a couple free ones, and then from there you have to purchase the tickets to do them, and then of course you get resources every single day when you get your rank. I'm rank 26 right now. I'll be pushing for rank number 1 very soon, and then when you finish chapter 12 or something like that, you get yourself into the legendary gladiator, which is very common in most of these games. You pick 3 teams, you fight a person, you advance in the ranks, you get yourself higher end rank as well too, and then you can collect some things along the way. In this case, you're collecting these right here called the total rewards. What are they called? What are these things called here? Let me see. Can I click on this? I can't, right? Oh, here, let me claim it first. There it is. Okay, so these are called the etched keystones. There you guys go. Then these can be used in the shop to trade for other things. Plus you get yourself some more arena tokens. So arena is a pretty big deal. Make sure you focus. And then of course we have ourselves the infinite abyss, which is your tower system. First, you're going to be able to do just the regular tower. As you advance, you're going to be able to unlock throughout the days the different factional towers. So it is important to get factions, guys. So SR units will play a faction or a role here in the factional content. So you guys can see Tower of Accessory. You can do 3 stages a day for these ones. Tower of Bloodborne, Tower of the Kingdom, Tower of the Church. On Sundays, everything is open, and on some other days, there's double factions. Okay, so you will be doing this as well too, and this is great because it gives you more moon tiers, gives you guys rare to perfect shards, and also gives you guys shards for that specific class. So when you do pull for that faction, you're guaranteed that faction for sure. Okay, so those are important things to do in this game, guys, so make sure you do it. Now another thing here you're going to also be able to do is your achievements. Make sure you focus on these because each chapter achievement here will give you guys perfect shards as well as some of these divine blood drops, and as you progress through this, you're going to get yourself more and more things throughout the entire section. Okay, so make sure you focus on that. So here they want me to fight the Soulless. All right, I think this is the boss right here. You guys can see I can't quick slay, but we'll do a boss fight here to kind of show you how it works. And this beginner guide will pretty much be the end of that video once we complete this boss. But the main thing to remember, guys, focus on story mode. Get as far as you can in story mode, and it will help you guys complete everything you need to complete. And once you have completed story mode, or once you've gone as far as you can with story mode, then focus on the tower, then focus on idol, then focus on Dutchman, etc. Right? You should be doing all of these things throughout the day. This game will eventually hit a wall. All of these games do, whether it's from resources, whether it's from leveling, whether it's battle power, it doesn't matter. Eventually you will, it is an idle game. You will hit a spot where you cannot go any further, and all it's going to do is take time. Time or money, right? One of those two things. All right, so this boss here, just like the regular boss, you have to kill the ads. When you kill the ads, they will drop his HP, and then when they drop his HP, you can do more damage to him, right? Essentially the way this works. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, why don't we summon hers on top of these guys? And you'll see here, Baphomet takes more damage this way, right? We're going to go ahead and do this just, again, to get the Blood Moon up. He's going to take no damage here almost, but that's not the point. The point is we got to kill off these ads. These ads are the main thing, and they're all connected to him. So once I complete this will end up the next chapter. How much damage took there from that? And we'll be able to move on and do the next one. Okay, we're going to do this first. Okay, we're restarting our Blood Moon there, right there. Now I need to do a Half Moon. Again, Half Moon is coming up there, or Crescent Moon I should say. And then we need to do a Full Moon. So Full Moon, we're going to do Lumia's. Right there. And I'm going to take Lyman out of my roster, I think, at this point. She's just sitting there kind of doing nothing at this point for me. Actually, I can use her here at least. With that 5, it's not as bad. That 6 is too much, man. She does do damage up, which is kind of nice, so we'll focus on that a little bit. Actually, here we'll do this again. Summon the ad. Here we're going to go ahead and do Gilrain, Shade of Gilrain again. And the next one I'm going to have to probably heal a little bit just to kind of give my guys a chance to recover some HP. But again, we're going to kill the ads with Lamaya. Or Lamia, I don't know, whatever you want to call her. I'm not sure what we are calling her nowadays. Here's a heal with Seth. There we go, full heal now. And we can start the whole process again, okay? Okay, next phase. He's going to go into this next phase. This phase is a little bit tougher. He does have tougher ads now, and also he starts doing a massive shielded attack, which does insane amounts of damage. So just be very mindful of this and wary that that's going to be coming very soon, and you're going to have to break that shield in order to stop him from killing, almost one-shotting your units in the front. Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and heal. Maybe I'll do Lamia first, just get these out of the way. And then we'll toss a quick heal after this. There it is. Okay, so perfect. We got the Blood Moon working perfectly there, guys. That's exactly what you want to do. Take advantage of those when they're popping up. Go ahead and do this first. We're going to focus on the ads next. We'll do Lamia's first, just to kill off the ads. And then we're going to summon the puppet in front of the boss this time. So he doesn't actually try to kill Gilrain right away. You guys can see he's got 2 health left. Now he's going to start doing his shield move very soon. We'll do this one first. There it is. Okay, and actually right now we could probably pull off Mine's a little bit more. Let's see if I can do this real quick. You can see how he's now focusing on the puppet, right? That's what you want. You want that puppet to be the main focus here of attention. I'm going to go ahead and heal. And we're going to now kill off these ads next. And that should now be able to finish off what we need for the rest of this. And now the boss is just going to focus strictly on the person in the front. Okay, here it is. This is what I was talking about, right? So Gilrain. This is where a shield comes in handy, by the way, if you have it. If not, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. See how we broke that shield? That's what you want to do. Okay, now at this point, we're just going to be DPSing. And we're going to do this real quick and do a little bit more damage up. This debuff is nice to have on him. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and use Lamaya and just kind of finish it off. Maybe it won't kill him right away, but it'll be pretty close. There it is. You guys can see that? There it is. All right, and that's how it works for bosses. This boss specifically, at least. Now that we finished that, you're going to see all the drops we got. There it is. A couple purples, a couple factional things. So again, make sure that these guys get the faction. So Kingdom, put that on a Kingdom unit, right? There's only tier 5 gear. That's fine, though. And then once you've done that, guys, you can quick slay here and get yourself more gear as well, too. Right there. Right? And here's another one.
That was too easy.
There you guys go. Completed. We got ourselves all the gear we need. Now we can get out of there and move on. Okay, and then if we go back now to the boon right here, right? There's a little bit of a boon here. I'll talk about the shop very shortly as well too, and we'll talk about these packs as well if you guys are interested in buying anything. And we're gonna get this. Gonna complete this chapter. There's another perfect shard. Another chapter completed. Another one down there. Another one here. Another one completed. See, you just get so many. And don't think that just because you've completed one that you maybe have to complete. There's probably many that you've completed ahead of time. You just got to collect them all. Okay, there you guys go. And then get your achievements out of the way. As you do achievements, by the way, and you fill up this, it's 79 out of 80, you'll get yourself more moon shards along the way, or moon tiers, sorry. Moon tiers along the way as well, too. There is a difference between paid ones and free ones, by the way. Eventually, there probably will be some sort of paid banner that you'll have to focus on as well, too, okay? So there you guys go. That's essentially it. Events. Far Side of the Moon. Focus on that. Night of the Hunt. Focus on that. These are all going to be events I'll make videos for separately. I just don't want to do it right now because I think it requires a whole separate video, and this is already getting pretty long. And then, of course, your castle. Let's go with the castle. This looks like Dracula's castle, but each section of the castle does different things. So Moonlight Tribute, we already talked about. This is where you collect your sermon. Right over here, Expedition. When you unlock this, you'll be able to get resources and things along the way as you send your units out. There's quick dispatch and then other things. As you level up the difficulty missions, the better the rewards will get, and you'll be able to do this through the observatory. I'll show you guys where that is as well. Hall of Honor. This is a place where you just unlock more things as you play the game, which will give you guys perfect shards, essentially, right? Very simple stuff to do. Council Chamber. This is a very big one. This will tie in with Affinity. When you do your chamber and your council, you'll put in all the units you want Affinity with, and then you'll have a meeting. They'll tell you how they feel about the meeting. You'll make a choice. Based on your choice and their feelings, you'll get either really good Affinity or bad Affinity based on that, okay? Observatory, this is important. You'll be able to level this up. The more Observatory you level up, it costs a lot of gold and units. You'll be able to get more and more out of your dispatch, so this is going to be a big part of the game. Make sure you level it up, but keep in mind it does cost a lot of Solly, and you will need some characters for it, okay? And then Starry Wilderness. This over here is going to be as you play the game and you unlock the stages, different parts of the chapters of the story, you're going to get keys. Unlock these keys, and every Monday some characters will pop up. They'll give you a little bit of their own storyline and backdrops, and you'll be able to get yourself candles and then use those candles to get yourself some extra things along the way, including moon tears. Okay, Ritual Chamber. All right, so this here is going to be your awakening. You'll unlock this later on. As you get these awakening shards, you'll be able to unlock different things for different characters and different factions. So this is just to give you guys more buffs. Pretty straightforward stuff, nothing really big there. And then we have ourselves Transfusion, which we talked about. Ancestral Vault, I think we've talked about that as well too. Those are the keys. And then lastly, the Hall of Opulence, which again is the same thing with the keys. So that's essentially the castle. Very important, guys. You guys can see I got 4 of them there. And over here you have 3 things you guys can talk to. Again, all starts on Monday. All right. So let's talk about one last thing, and that is the concept of affinity. Affinity. So you guys can see right here near the character, it's called an invitation. If you click on that invitation, it'll take you to this little screen. Now this screen allows you to have a banquet with a character. You can feed them different levels of items, which will eventually give their stats a little bit further up. And then as you get their stats further up, they'll also get their affinity go further up, and then you'll be able to unlock the journal. The journal actually has different things about the character that you can learn, the background, everything about their story. But as you learn more about their story, they're also going to give you cutscenes and moon tiers. So make sure you do this for all the characters that you intend to use very often. So for example, I'm going to use Hattie very often. So I'm going to go ahead and auto select. You guys can see I can do multiple times up to level 8. Watch this. Look at the stats increase, right? Everything went up there. And now with that being said, her journal now has additional things for me to explore, more about the character and more about her story. And you guys can see here's a text, for example. I'm just going to go through this quick. Again, you can respond the way you want to respond. And then from here, you'll get yourself the 50 moon tiers. All right. These are all very important things. All right, guys, that concludes the beginner's guide. I hope this was very insightful. It helped you out quite a bit. Hope this helps you guys start on the right foot and you understand the game a little bit more. If you have any comments or questions, or if you just like the channel or what I'm doing, please leave a like, subscribe, put a comment down, and remember, hit that notification. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.